It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening or watching. Hope you're having a great time, and I hope you enjoy the show. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Gawk Box. What is it? Well, you can save some money, plus get stuff for free, and at the same time help us out. Visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the Gawk Box banner. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold, and you can literally get a copy of it right now while you're watching the show or listening to the show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board, and learn about my guy, Tom Molyneux. I mean, this was a guy that was born a slave, was forced into fighting, ended up fighting for his freedom, and was really not only the first American world heavyweight or first American heavyweight champion, he was the first American heavyweight to challenge in the very first world heavyweight title fight, and was robbed. And he's not even getting the credit that he deserves. He didn't get respect while he lived, and he's still not getting respect now while he's gone. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting history written correctly about my man Tom Molyneux. You can get a copy. You're looking to get a signed copy, just visit our website, billycboxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. Coming up later in the week, we got our blast from the past, the Cinderella Man. Yeah, James Braddock. We'll be talking about him on Wednesday. We got a bunch of other stuff during the week. This is Manny Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn week. The fight is this weekend, and we'll be talking about that. I got some news to talk about, specifically some fight results and stuff. We got some sports scores. We got some emails to read. A lot of stuff going on today. But my main topic, does Jeff Horn have a chance? I mean, you know, he's fighting Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, the only boxer to win 8 world titles in 8 different divisions. He's guaranteed a first ballot Hall of Famer. Exciting fighter. Whether you like him or not, you got to give him that. You know, he's continuing his career. He's currently the World Boxing Association's world welterweight champ. But it's even more than that, because the computer rankings have him at number 1. Some people would think that maybe Keith Thurman should be number 1, or even Errol Spence now, in terms of athletic ability and boxing ability. But Manny Pacquiao's number 1. And it would be nice to see Manny Pacquiao, should he want to continue his career at 38 years old, fight one of these young guns like Thurman or Errol Spence, or even Kell Brook for that matter. But instead he's fighting Jeff Horn, who's ranked number 12 in the world by the computer. And my question today is, does a guy who's got 16, 17 fights, against a first ballot Hall of Famer in Manny Pacquiao, despite what he says, does he really have a chance? Joining me right now to give me his thoughts is my partner in crime, Sal Rocky Senecola. Does Jeff Horn have a chance, Sal?
Oh, of course. I mean, every fighter has a chance. The likelihood, I don't believe so, but he has a chance. There's always a freakish thing happening during any fight that can change the course of the result to the end. And you know what? Do I believe he will beat Manny Pacquiao? No. do I think there'll be that freak opportunity? No. But can he somehow find himself with a lucky punch or something? Or can Manny get hurt or something? Can Manny get cut? Yeah, all these things are possible. But that's the variables that you have to consider. But black and white on the surface, no, I don't think he'll beat Manny Pacquiao.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yes.
We have Manny Pacquiao fighting Jeff Horn. A lot of people feel that it's going to be an easy fight for Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao might be looking at it as an easy fight, maybe taking his opponent lightly. As much as I agree with you that I don't give Jeff Horn much of a chance, even this version of Manny Pacquiao, is this fight going to be as one-sided as Conor McGregor against Floyd Mayweather? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be more exciting because all of Manny Pacquiao's fights, for the most part, except for the one he fought, Floyd Mayweather, is they're more exciting than Floyd's fights. The excitement factor, is that worth anything, Sal?
You know, the excitement factor that these two ring combatants are going to be in the same ring, same date, the same night, facing each other, I'm not excited about it. The fight itself could be exciting, but like I said, I think Manny. Look at all you did with his introduction, Manny Pacquiao. The guy is a multi-world champion, has done things that very few fighters could ever claim that they'll ever do, and he is already etched a legacy of boxing in his name forever. And I would have preferred to see him fight the number one ranked person below him, or the computer rankings, or whatever it is. I mean, that's the Pacquiao that we want to see challenged and everything else. And how can they rank him number one after he's been off? And what do you have? Just one or two fights or whatever since he's been back since his shoulder? I mean, again, you know, I thought he would have to have gotten in line a little bit. And not take anything away from him. He is who he is, and that's why I find the whole thing kind of a little shallow, that he just didn't try to get into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, who he said he was going to make the comeback for. And instead of watching a real fight with Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, even though I think Floyd Mayweather beat him 99 or 100 times, I think that this fight that Floyd is going to, this exhibition, it should be an exhibition, that Floyd is going to partake in August, is going to be nothing more than a farce, a one-sided farce. And I've been doing my MMA homework, and you know, I just, if Floyd Mayweather got in a ring with Conor McGregor in the cage, Conor McGregor is going to kill him. I know what these guys could do. If it was on his turf, on his side, on his rules and regulations, there is no fight. Floyd Mayweather would be beaten, and believe me, Conor McGregor would have no problem. But the truth of the matter is, it's the other way around. He's coming over to the boxing side. So why should anybody else expect anything different? It's not going to happen.
Well, as far as Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn are concerned,
that's what we're talking about.
Jeff Horn, he's got 17 fights, 16 wins, 16 wins, 1 draw. Of the 17 fights, he's fought 2 guys that are even known, outside complete diehard boxing fans, or unless you're in Australia, and that's Ali Fanica and Randall Bailey, which he stopped both of these guys. He does hold some advantages over Manny, like he's 9 years younger, and he's got almost a 4-inch height advantage, and a 1-inch reach advantage, which isn't much. But Manny Pacquiao, he's fought 349 rounds more versus experience with Jeff Horn. But here's an interesting stat, Sal. Of his 38 knockouts, Manny Pacquiao's got 38 knockouts, right? That's 21 more knockouts that he has, just knockouts, than that Jeff Horn has fights. And just to remind you, he hurt his shoulder leading up to the Floyd Mayweather fight, which to this day, it still makes me sick. But after that fight, he fought Timothy Bradley. That's no layup fight. Timothy Bradley's got to be one of the most underrated fighters in boxing today. And then how he won the title was he beat Jesse Vargas, who had the title. So, his last two fights were against, significant opposition, and that's an understatement. Jesse Vargas, a good fighter, but Timothy Bradley, a world-class fighter, a pound-for-pound fighter. Floyd Mayweather can't say that since both of them, since they fought each other. And you could criticize Pacquiao right now for going up against Jeff Horn, who we all are critical because, we've come to expect Manny Pacquiao to fight nothing but the best. But when you compare him to his parallel competitor in Floyd Mayweather is fighting an MMA guy. And you're 100% correct. If it was under MMA rules, Floyd Mayweather doesn't stand a chance. But that's Floyd's MO. Floyd's MO is never challenge himself. So back to Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. I don't think Jeff Horn has much of a chance unless he took this fight, unless Manny took this fight lightly, Sal. And I'll read you some quotes. Jeff Horn is very confident of beating Manny Pacquiao this weekend. He says that he thinks that Manny Pacquiao has 100% underestimated him. He says that he has a difficult style, and he feels that it's going to give Manny Pacquiao trouble. And he says that he's in the best shape of his life. Manny Pacquiao, he just said, I hurt my shoulder against it. Oh, no. He said, training is good. We did a lot of hard work. I'm excited to give the fans a good show and to show my best in the ring. He said that some reports coming out of the Philippines said that I haven't been training hard. He said, but that's not true. It just happens that when some of our friends come around the training camp, we're not doing much, and people assume I wasn't training hard. Well,
yeah, no update.
I hope he trains hard. But it sounds to me that he is taking this fight lightly. Sal, what do you think?
Well, it's hard to say. He could be. But the thing is this, a fighter of his magnitude, of his experience level, he knows in his heart of hearts better than that, not to take a fighter lightly. Now, also, the fact is, he had to rise to the occasion and get up for Jeff Horn, all right? Not Floyd Mayweather, not not Keith Thurman. So might he be doing a different approach with his training? Might he just count on his experience? And I don't think Manny Pacquiao is that kind of professional. I think Manny Pacquiao knows the laws, knows the rules, knows the variables that could happen in the fight game. So I think Manny Pacquiao, between you and I and everybody else, thank you very much, is prepared for this fight and will prepare for the fight. How he prepared, is it as intense as if he was getting ready for Keith Thurman or Floyd Mayweather or any one of the top contenders out there or champions? I don't know. How do you get – that's what I'm saying. You have to have that oomph, that incentive, that passion. But I'm sure he knows what he's got to do, and I'm sure he did it. Whether he felt like he was going through the motions and maybe there was a little lackluster of a spark, I don't think he is not going to be prepared. He just probably wasn't as intense in some of his sessions that his friends stopped by to see. That's good.
Well, Coach makes an interesting point in the chat room. And by the way, I know we're still simulcasting on Facebook Live. You guys that are watching on Facebook Live are not getting the full video version of this show. If you want to get the TV version, that goes up to the networks, plus is up on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing. And my man Coach, which our official chat room that we respond to, says he's a congressman too. And that makes Manny Pacquiao, and that adds more to it. Talk about distractions. Listen, I think it's human nature I personally think that that Manny Pacquiao is taking this fight a little lightly, Sal, and as a result, maybe his conditioning isn't as great. But one thing is for sure, he's going to have to end the fight quickly, especially if he didn't give it his all in training. And he is 38 years old, and like Coach says, he is a congressman. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, a lot of people are always around him, like he suggests in training. And he's going to be in front of 55,000 people. So hold that thought, Sal, because I got to take a break. And when we come back, we will finish that thought. We got some other stuff going on, so we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today, and we're glad we're with you. Yeah, we're glad we're with you. And speaking being with you, being with us is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And do you think he's do you think Manny? I know you're trying to say he's still got a. I think it's human nature. I think he's taking him a little lightly. We're going to get Dax Khan on a little bit later. He's in the chat room, and he says that Horn is being underestimated. I mean, does he have a chance, Sal?
Of course. Like I said, it on paper, Manny Pacquiao should not have that much difficulty in getting this victory. However, like I said, any given night, you don't know what is in one man's heart or what he's going to be able to endure and how he's going to perform. And guess what? This is Jeff Horn's time to rise to the occasion, knowing that he is getting a shot at a legend. And, what do you want to do? Do you want to fold over, roll over, and count it out? No. You want to do the best job you can ever pull from your body, your heart, your mind, your soul. And you want to put on a performance that is stellar. So with that, this is the kind of passion that if a fighter has this opportunity, he's got to know that this is his one and only time to show on a world stage what he's all about and what he could do. So, yes, Jeff Horn should be fully confident that he is ready, he's prepared himself, and that he's in the ring with a legend. So there's excitement on that level and passion on that for him to channel, to work with, and to let released in the ring. But the Manny Pacquiao, it's experience, business as usual, lesser opponent on the level that he's used to being prepared for, or preparing himself for. So, might he have taken it lightly? What do you consider lightly at his age and everything else? The guy has experience. He's got to emotionally get up for the fight. I know he probably is. He's a professional. So even if he did things rounded off some of the corners, and I'm sure he's going to come in. We're going to see Manny Pacquiao in shape. We're going to see him prepared, and we're going to see him doing business as usual. I can promise you that.
Well, Jeff Horn is in a win-win situation. I mean, he's in
a win-win situation.
He's got 17 pro fights. He's all of his fights are fought down in the land down under in Australia, and he's got a chance, like you said, to fight in front of his home court, so to speak, and put on a performance and maybe even get lucky. But he's in a win-win situation. Even if he loses the fight, he's still getting a huge payday. He's still fighting and getting the opportunity against a future Hall of Famer, like you suggest. I mean, there's nothing for him to lose. And, of course, he's confident. They've been telling him in his ear for the last couple of months that he's, going to shock the world. He's going to beat Manny Pacquiao. Look, Manny's not training. Look, Manny's doing this. Manny's doing that. But the most, important question I have for Manny Pacquiao is why. I'm saying why are you even fighting this fight? I mean, you got to assume that he's financially well off, even if he's not, even if he, his publicized tax issues and stuff, even if he's not. There's so many bigger, more lucrative fights for Manny Pacquiao out there. Now, you could make the argument that this is a forced fight. The WBO made him do this challenge. But the truth of the matter is if you recall, he was trying to fight Amir Khan first. Remember, they left Jeff Horn hanging there for a while. So I just don't know why Manny's doing it. At 38 years old, he's clearly over the hill in terms of his career. And I just don't understand why. He's in a lose-lose situation. Lose-lose. Because even if he wins, people are going to be negative about the level of opposition. They're going to say, why didn't you fight, Keith Thurman or Errol Spence or even Kell Brook or somebody that's, along those lines. Even Sean Porter, for example. There's going to be so many other welterweights that they're going to throw at him. And, of course, some of us, very few, because a lot of people felt that it was a very boring, anticlimactic fight between Pacquiao and Mayweather. I would like to see another fight because I'm sick of Manny, I hurt my shoulder. I couldn't fight because I hurt my shoulder. I don't want to hear the excuse. I want to see Mayweather win, if he's going to win, a rematch, and have Manny Pacquiao give the credit where credit's due. So I think Manny's in a lose-lose situation, Sal.
Bill, you just said it. And you're 100% right. I have to agree with you. Manny Pacquiao is in a lose-lose situation, except for winning and the fight and money. But I know what you mean. He's in a lose-lose situation. He's going to be looked at, and it's going to be questions after the fight. But Jeff Horn is in a win-win situation. And even if Jeff Horn goes the distance or looks good or doesn't, I mean, he's in a stellar position. He's taking on a future Hall of Famer who's supposed to win, who's supposed to do things. And he's got this opportunity. How could you not rise to the occasion and want to get in the ring and say, "Hey, I'm the best. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to show the world and shock everybody what I'm going to do." So that's what I'm saying. That's what he's got on his side. And again, he even if he does come up lucky and win, again, that's a great position for him to be in, of course. But if he loses, he's going in the ring. He's got an early Christmas gift. And I think this is going to be great for his future, great for his career, and he'll have to be feeling good after this fight. And Manny Pacquiao, yeah, same thing. You know, he's going to be coming up victorious, but he'll be looked at what kind of situation. Who'd you fight? Who'd you really fight? You can afford a guy in his 18th pro fight. And you said it right there. There's Keith Thurman. There's Porter. There's many other people out there that could have been considered. That would have been a better opponent, a more marquee value, if you will.
Well, the other thing, he could have really shoved it up Floyd's what.
He could have
by fighting a Keith Thurman or an Errol Spence or a Sean Porter or a Kell Brook, even, you know, a top name in the welterweight division, and show that Manny Pacquiao is still fighting real fights versus picking a MMA guy for the check. I mean, let's face it, Floyd and Conor McGregor are fighting each other for the money. And, you know, they're taking advantage of the fans and the stupidity of the fans that are going to buy the fight, you know, thinking. Now, let me rephrase that. I don't think fans are stupid for buying it if they think that it's worth it for the entertainment value.
Right.
But if they're buying it because they really think that it's going to be a legitimate fight, then they're stupid, because there's no way. And as much as, you know, McGregor could land that lucky punch, and I certainly hope he does, but it's very unlikely. But my point is that Manny Pacquiao could have picked a much better opponent and still be in a win-win situation, because if he lost to a Keith Thurman or a Kell Brook or a Sean Porter or an Errol Spence, then people say, well, he's 38 years old, he's past his prime, he's been in some wars, it's over for Manny. But he still walks out, you know, on with his head held high, and he gets a huge payday. This is a high-risk, no-reward fight for Manny Pacquiao. He could get stopped. He could hurt himself and re-injure his shoulder that ends his career. And the last image we have is Manny Pacquiao fighting Jeff Horn, Sal.
Well, you're so right, Bill, and those are possibilities that could happen. And but believe me, I don't believe this is Manny's last cash-out fight. He's probably anticipating sailing on, getting past Jeff Horn fairly easily, and he's going to look for a bigger name where he can say, hey, you know what? Look at this. Manny Pacquiao's fighting a Keith Thurman, or he's fighting a Kell Brook or Errol Spence. And, you know, these guys, are they going to have the respect for Manny as if he was in his heyday? No. These guys could feel right now in their heart of hearts that they could beat Manny Pacquiao. And most likely, maybe they can. Who knows? But the bottom line is this. We'll always see the best from Manny Pacquiao, and whether Father Time negates it or Styles, which will always make the fights, Manny Pacquiao could have a difficult time with some of these styles. And I don't believe for 1 minute with a man like Manny Pacquiao entering the ring, whether it's a height advantage or reach advantage, that doesn't even come into play. With all the experience you have and putting all those negativities into your positive corner for a win, you know how to get past that. So Manny Pacquiao knows how to get past this. He's experienced, and that's the big teacher right there. He's got life-learned experience against this opponent he's going to face.
Yeah, well, he might need a little more. I mean, Jeff Horn's going to need more than a little bit of experience. Neither one of these guys have fought in 2017. Jeff Horn's last fight was in December. Manny's was in November. So, I mean, you know, both of them have been out of the ring, you know, more than 6 months. So, you know, that's going to be also an issue. Manny's fought after layoffs before, but the age factor, you know, it's not going to be the same Manny that we saw in the last fight. It's certainly not going to be the same Manny we saw in the fight before that against Timothy Bradley. And we're hoping it's not the same Manny that we saw in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. So, you know, again, I don't know why. We will be talking about this fight more as the week goes on. Now, normally we do post-fight shows. And this is certainly a big fight to do one. Unfortunately, we won't be doing a post-fight on Saturday after the fight. We will be doing a post-fight on Monday. So a week from today, we will be doing the post-fight. We will not be doing a post-fight show on Saturday night, because the 4th of July weekend, even though it falls in the middle of next week, and the 1st, July 1st, happens to be on Saturday. The holidays messing up our schedule a little bit, but we will be doing shows all next week while you guys are off blowing your hands apart and stuff with 4th of July. We'll be here doing the show, Sal. So anyway.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Well, people got to be careful. They got to be careful. I mean, just ask.
Bill, you just put my mind back, and I don't mean anything to anybody that's had that kind of accident. Surely not, because it could be devastating and it's dangerous, and we all know the risk involved. But you just made me have a flashback to the first time I heard one of the Jerky Boys about that kind of scenario.
Well, I tell you, I thought you were gonna. We got to take a break, but I thought you were gonna tell me that it just put you back in time when one of your Giants, what's his name, Pierre Paul, blow his hand off. I mean, what an idiot with that. But anyway,
we know that.
We got to take a short break. We will be back in, I don't know, I'm gonna say 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And with me right now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, they made it official. We'll be talking a lot more about Manny Pacquiao against Jeff Horn if we could find anything else to talk about. Dax Khan will be coming up in about a half hour and be giving us his thoughts. But they made it official. You remember the fight, Guillermo Rigondeaux, who when he hit his opponent after the bell, and it was total chaos with the inept, and I've totally lost all respect for the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Bob Bennett, who refuses to comment on the official letter I sent. But it was made officially official. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has changed Rigondeaux's win to a no contest. What's your thoughts?
It was a cheap shot, And what are they going to do now? They're going to have a rematch. They're going to try and do this again. I don't know, but it was a cheap shot. So I don't disagree with their verdict.
I don't. I think it was a tough. First of all, I don't think it was. I disagree with you. I don't think it was a cheap shot because, and although you could make the argument that a fighter, could be in motion of throwing punches in every fight, the bell sounds. I blame a lot of it on Vic Draculich because, like we talked about with Larry Hazard last week, he was not in position. When you hear the 10-second or 5-second warning, depending upon which commission you're fighting under, it's the referee's job to get close to the fighters. So when the bell rings, he actually steps in front so that the fighters know. Now, he did step in front after the bell, but Rigondeaux was already in motion. I'm okay with the no contest. I'm not okay with the way it happened. I'm not okay with the commission. I'm not okay with Vic Draculich not having control and making a quick, decisive decision. I'm certainly not happy with Bob Bennett and his stumbling, bumbling, rumbling BS, and then giving the commentators from HBO all the accolades and acting like they were running the show. I just feel that the Nevada State Athletic Commission, as far as I'm concerned, has lost all my respect. Now, what takes place next? I mean, it's ruled a no contest, so that's basically saying, Sal, that the fight never took place. Maybe a rematch is in order. Maybe the sanctioning body orders a rematch. I mean, maybe that's the best thing to do.
Maybe, and each fighter will know going in what to expect to a degree, and and you're right. I mean, when I use the comment cheap shot, if he's in his combination and he's momentum and all that, and the bell rings split second and he's following through, I mean, it's a hard call. You hear to the bell, you hopefully just stop or diffuse what you got going on, but it's a hard call when you're in the heat of the battle. That bell rings and you're finishing up. You're following through what you started. And the snap judgment. And by the way, I think Bennett has that letter in the mail for you.
Yeah. Bennett should have been man enough to at least comment. He could have. All he could have done is given his official reason why, and it had nothing to do with that fight. By the way, the letter had to do with why he approved Conor McGregor, a pro debut fighter, to fight many people regard as this generation's best pound for pound fighter in Floyd Mayweather, a clear first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy that's 49-0. But
I'll tell you, not to get too far off the subject, but I'll tell you the best answer I've heard from my good friend Bobby Ches last week when we talked, and he said, Sal, they're not looking at it from that standpoint. They're looking at it that they're both involved with striker sports. And across the board, that's how the commission's viewing it, and that's how they could put this fight together with their consciousness.
Well, that's wrong. I mean, I love Bobby Ches, but I disagree with him because MMA is different than boxing. Yeah, it's both striking. Fencing is a striking sport. You're striking with a weapon. It's not the same. Baseball. Football.
With a bat.
I'm just saying, baseball and football. They're both played in a league. They're both played on a field. They're both played during the day and at evening. So does that make it the same? No, it doesn't. MMA is totally different. I get it. If he would have fought amateur fights and had them documented, I'd be singing a different tune. If he fought one or even two professional fights, I'd be singing a different tune. But to pro debut, I'm sorry. That's a very stupid decision, and it's clearly based on the revenue factor that the commission is going to make on this fight. I mean, you could sugarcoat it. You could smoke screen it. You could say it. Bobby Ches could come and give us a speech and have us all give him a standing ovation. But the truth is the truth. it's about the money, Sal. I mean, there's no you
but,
can't you can't.
By the way,
change it.
not to put Bobby out there in that sense, and surely, you know what, he'll call in if you want. I'll arrange that for you. He'll come on the show and talk all about it, I'm sure. But the bottom line is this, and I know you can arrange that easily too. The bottom line is Bobby was saying that's how they could have approved it. He didn't say that's how he felt it could be approved. Bobby is in total. He's on our side. He feels the same way. And I'm going to tell you something. With all the fight fans I have coming in and out of my pizzeria on a weekly basis, and all of them talking to me about this fight, that's all we do day and night. I have the men and women from Fletzy. I have this one. I have that. The boxing fans coming in day and night. They all ask my opinion about it. And guess what? 90% of them all concur with you and I. They say, Sal, it's a mismatch. Shouldn't even happen. I'm talking about the boxing fans. The MMA fans, they're even saying that they know it's a mismatch. And they're even saying it's not a real fight. A lot of the MMA fans that come into my pizzeria, I'm telling you, a lot of people think this is a farce. So good for them.
No, but I agree. And most people agree that it's a farce. But the problem is it makes the Nevada State Athletic Commission lose credibility by approving it as a real fight. There's been many fights throughout the history of boxing where fighters fight, non-boxers. And in a lot of cases, exhibitions are totally acceptable. Muhammad Ali fought a sumo wrestler. It's not on his record. You don't see it on his official boxing record. But you're going to see Mayweather's win over McGregor on his official boxing record. That's my hang-up. That's it. I have no problem with the fight and the fighters making a ton of money, which they are. I don't even have a problem with the commission pocketing money or the hotels and all the businesses in Las Vegas that are going to make money. I have no problem with that. I support that. I have a problem with the fight being a sanctioned professional boxing match that counts on Floyd's record. And I don't even care if Floyd could have fought another Andre Berto for a 50th win, and that would be more reputable than the fight that he's fighting with Conor McGregor. He wouldn't have made as much money. I get it. I don't need somebody to tell me that. I know it. But the truth of the matter is it's a joke, it's a farce, and it's terrible for the sport of boxing. And I'll tell you what, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, as I've lost all respect for them. I had them in my top 4. They might as well just be, and I'm going to say this because I was a licensed promoter in the state, they might as well go and they're no better than the state of Maine, and the state of Maine is a very weak commission, and it is what it is. I was a licensed promoter there for several fights, and the truth of the matter is they're very, very weak. That's why I went there. But anyway, we got some fight results from the weekend in a fight that saw a lot of these guys. Both guys hit the canvas. Tyrone Brunson improved to 25-6 with 3 draws when he knocked out Kermit Cintron in the 5th round, 1 minute and 21 seconds. Despite him going down not once but twice in the 4th round. So he recovered and came back and knocked out Kermit Cintron, who said after the fight, "It's not easy being green."
I knew that was coming, Billy.
That's a different
I knew
Kermit.
Somewhere that was coming.
That's a
Thanks
different
for
Kermit.
That.
But I think that Kermit Cintron is done. I mean, this is a guy that didn't really like boxing anymore, and then he got into it. He's been hand fed some weak opposition, but Tyrone Brunson beats Kermit Cintron. He picks up the Pennsylvania state title in the junior middleweight division. Also over the weekend, Tomas Adamek scored a 10-round unanimous decision over Solomon Humano to improve to 51 wins and 3 losses with 30 knockouts in the heavyweight division. Humano drops to 24-4, 100-90, and 2 judges had it 99-91 for Adamek. You can bet your last dollar that you'll see him get another world title shot at some time in the future. Why he's still fighting, I don't know. But in the cruiserweight division, Krzysztof Glowacki improved to 27-1 when he scored a 6-round knockout over Hisnai Atunakea, who had been undefeated going into this fight. He's now 29-1. This is Glowacki's first fight since he lost to Alexander Usyk last year. And former cruiserweight title challengers, Mateusz Masternak and Ismail Solika fought, and Masternak won a 10-round unanimous decision, 96-92, 95-93 twice, with the way the judges scored that one. Also, in some boxing action over the weekend, Mickey Roman, improved to 57-12 with 44 knockouts when he scored a knockout, and I'm talking about a brutal 12th round knockout over Nuri Segulian, who drops to 38-9 in Mexico. 1 minute and 10 seconds was the official time of that one. And one of your favorite fighters, certainly not mine, although I love this guy as a commentator. Don't know why he's even fighting. He's been nothing less than a fraud. BJ Flores, who's now fighting in the heavyweight division. And the WBA, one of the biggest joke sanctioning bodies in boxing, has him ranked at number 10, which is a complete farce. He improved to 34-3 with a draw when he scored a 6-round. He's fighting 6-rounders. 6-round decision over Nick Guavis, who drops to 13-6. You know, how good is BJ Flores? He's fighting 13-5 guys over 6 rounds.
Don't say he's my favorite fighter. I don't even follow the guy.
60-54. Was the way all the judges scored that one. So what a joke. BJ Flores, great. I love him as a commentator, Sal, but fraud as a boxer.
Wow. Guys, I like his name. I mean, his name is catchy. I mean, he should be a singer. Or no, that was B.J. Thomas. Yeah.
I don't know. I got some emails to read, Sal. But first, let's get people caught up with baseball, if you care. Twins over the Indians 4-0. Marlins beat the Cubbies 4-2. The Orioles beat the Rays 8-5. Angels over the Red Sox 4-2. The Brewers shut out the Braves 7-0. Reds over the Nationals 6-2. Rangers beat the Yankees 7-6. A's over the White Sox 5-3. Blue Jays over the Royals 8-2. The Mets won again, 3 in a row. They swept the Giants 8-2.
Wow.
Which is a joke. The Giants are the only team worse than the Mets. Astros 8, Mariners 2, Dodgers 12, Rockies 6. The Diamondbacks and the Phillies had a tough nail-biter. Took 11 innings to get the winner. Diamondbacks prevailed 2-1. Tigers over the Padres 7-5. And the Cardinals beat the Pirates 8-4. We got some emails. You ready?
I'm ready.
First one, Joel says, I really liked, Joel, does Joel ever go against you? I mean, I don't know. What is he on your payroll now? I mean, I don't know. But he says, I really liked, here's Joel, my man Joel. I really liked Sal's question that he posed to your audience on Friday. To answer Sal, because obviously he doesn't care what I ask, but he only cares about what Sal says. I think he wants another couple of T-shirts. I'll tell you what, if we do this event, which, it sounds like we are, and I'm hoping people will email me, the event we're doing August down in at the Sea Palms, Joel better show up, Sal. Don't you think?
I'll have a shirt for him.
Don't you think he better show up? He better take a buddy of his or his pops or somebody and come down? I mean,
I would love it.
I think Joel has to.
Joel and many of the people out there, I would love to meet them. If they're capable of or able to get down there, oh, boy, that would be great. And you know what? You and I should definitely make it a date to show up at the International Boxing Hall of Fame maybe next year.
Well, I think that Joel and his cronies should come down. I think him and a bunch of his buddies should all come on down.
Take a bus ride, man. Come on down. Have some pizza. Play some golf. Watch Billy and I do a commentating on Fight Pass, and let's have a great time. Just shake hands, drink some beer, and have a toast.
So let's read an email.
English muffin.
He says he says to answer, not that we're prejudiced against English muffins. He says a bagel, English muffin, a toast, whatever you prefer. Okay, we don't want to offend anybody. He says, to answer Sal, I feel if Mayweather fought McGregor under MMA rules, I believe he'd be one of the few boxers who would actually show some success early on in the fight. Conor doesn't like to take his opponents down much, preferring to stand and knock them out. I could see Floyd actually working on takedown defense. Conor would exhaust himself out as he fights to get Floyd down. He may eventually get taken down and beaten up later in an MMA fight against Conor, but I think he'd make some things tougher than most boxers to MMA versus MMAs to boxers. He says, not sure if Sal remembers, but back in 2010, James Toney fought in the UFC against Randy Couture. Toney got quickly taken down and submitted. However, Toney was on the downturn of his career. I think a Floyd Mayweather would present a good challenge for Conor in the MMA cage because he's incredibly gifted with his skills and intelligent at learning and adjusting to a fight or a fighter. Well, I will say this.
I like that.
I will say this. Joel, all kidding aside, he's we're very thankful for his loyalty to this show and his contributions on the website and everything else. But I think he's somebody slipped him some funny stuff because there's no way. First of all, Floyd Mayweather doesn't challenge himself inside his own ring. He would never, ever stand a chance against Conor McGregor in the fight, in an MMA fight. Conor would destroy him. I don't think that Mayweather makes it out of one round with Conor McGregor. Even if he's doing a full stand-up boxing and running and everything else, Conor McGregor would just bull rush him, slam him to the canvas, and it would be lights out for Floyd. That's why Floyd is doing what he is, making this a boxing match. The truth of the matter is that the only thing I do agree with this email, Sal, is that Joel points out that Conor McGregor gets gassed. And that's the other reason Floyd picked him. Conor McGregor's going to fight like a gangbuster for 1 or 2 rounds, maybe 3. Then he's going to be half dead. He's going to be half dead. Floyd's going to win this fight by knockout between Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts of Floyd fighting in an MMA cage? To Joel's question that Floyd would actually give him a fight.
Well, and I said that and posed that question just simply to establish the fact that in each of their own elements, they're going to be superior. And this just happens to be that Conor McGregor is entering under and into the domain of Floyd Mayweather. And if it was the other way around, Floyd would come up very short. And, these guys that do their MMA, I've watched some of this MMA. They use their legs. They put a scissor around the waist. They do things that Floyd would only he'd think he'd be inside a washing machine. And I don't care what. Floyd would never. I don't think he'd make it out of a first round. It's a brutal sport, as boxing is in its own right. But when you're using all your limbs to dismantle an opponent, and you could put a choke around someone's abdomen with your legs, scissors, and do some elbows and knock this and knock that, the back of the head. If Floyd is on the ground, he's going to be like a turtle, defenseless, if it's on his back. And it's beyond my realm of expertise, but I know that Floyd probably would never have made it or would make it out of the first round if it was MMA.
I agree. There's no way Floyd wouldn't make it out of the ring if he fought Keith Thurman or Errol Spence or come on. Floyd he's a master of smoke and mirrors. But anyway, we got another email. This one's from my man Chase, and he says, "Hey crew," he says, "while I respect Roy Jones Jr. for taking on Ruiz, I believe it fails in comparison to Ward possibly taking on Anthony Joshua. I think if Jones would have taken on Lennox Lewis around 2003, it would have been right there with Ward against Joshua. I would compare Leonard taking on Hagler to Mayweather coming out of retirement to take on Triple G at this time. What's your thoughts?" Well, Chase, I first of all, I appreciate you taking some time. He says he's a huge fan of the show. I appreciate you taking the time, dropping us an email. But I agree with Chase 100% that I've only asked Floyd, asked of Floyd to do that. I feel that, at least for myself, I would have respected Floyd way more, whether he won, lost, or had a draw with Triple G. And as a matter of fact, I believe that he has a better chance of beating Triple G than most. So, but Floyd's failure to think outside the box and take chances will always have an asterisk next to his name as far as my book. But I do definitely make that equivalent to when Sugar Ray Leonard came out and seeked out the best in Marvin Hagler and won. I disagree with the outcome, but he won nonetheless. That's what it shows in the record books. So I agree with my man Chase 100%. What's your thoughts?
I do. It's like the analogy I made the other day with saying that Andre Ward stepping up and wanting to fight Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's not the same fight, not the same background, but yeah, it would be like a Sugar Ray Leonard going up in weight class against the supposedly best opponent in that division, heavyweight division for today, arguably, but it could be. And the same thing with this. If Floyd, I'm telling you, I would love it, and I've been saying this for months, that Floyd Mayweather, we don't know, I doubt it, but Floyd Mayweather could be ringside, it's in his backyard, for the Triple G Canelo Alvarez fight, and he can go up in that ring either before, during, or after, not during, but before or after, and state that he wants the winner, and he's going to show the world and shock the world. That's also how he could steal some thunder. We know he loves to steal thunder, and he thought this fight with Conor McGregor would steal thunder from the Triple G, and Alvarez, but it didn't, because you know what? This is a bona fide, real, competitive, great matchup between two warriors, and it's going to be a stellar fight. Win, lose, or draw for either guy. It's going to be a great fight. And Floyd can't upstage that, but the only way he could do something is if he gets in the ring and says he wants the winner.
He won't do it. You keep saying that. You're holding strong.
I know. I wonder what the Las Vegas odds are for that.
You're holding strong to that hope. But Floyd.
I'm holding strong. I really am. I don't know why I just feel, maybe because it's what I would want to do. Maybe it's because I just sense that Floyd, if he feels he is really that kind of an elitist or that kind of special athlete, or feels in his heart of hearts that he's that dominant and that he could call upon his body to do anything like that. That's a natural course. I mean, he's been speaking, and you're right, Bill. He does have a style that I believe can give Triple G a little bit of trouble, and he already knows he beat Canelo Alvarez, and so, I mean, that's why I'm giving my thoughts to that whole scenario a little more credence, because he beat Alvarez already. So he feels he could beat him again. He feels he has the style to beat Triple G. So, Floyd doesn't take that much of a risk. But if he feels in his heart of hearts he's got one last big one to go out with, what could be bigger than surpass a fight like this? Then taking on the winner of this fight. And, in his heart of hearts, he probably feels he could beat both guys. So in Floyd fashion, maybe he's going to bite the bullet, say, hey, this is the way I'm going to go out. This is my last one, and this is what I'm going to do.
Never happened. Floyd is done. He's going to fight the easiest fight he could find and make the most money that he could possibly make. That's the fight he chose. That's Conor McGregor. You'll never see Floyd in the ring again. And, his thinking is that you're right. If Canelo beat Triple G, then people would say, well, let him fight Canelo again. But his reasoning would be, no, I already beat Canelo. I don't need to fight him again. And all his fans will say the same thing. Same thing with Manny Pacquiao. I don't need to fight him. And remember, this is a guy in Floyd Mayweather who said that he knows he could beat Triple G, so why does he have to fight him? I mean, just ridiculous. Well, you know what? That's great. Ridiculous, yeah.
He saved us all time and money. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's, this is the type of smokescreen that this guy does. I mean, it is what it is. Listen, the quicker he's out of this sport 100% in terms of boxing, And unfortunately, we got to watch him again against McGregor. But the quicker he's out, the better the sport will be. Just remember, prior to him announcing that he's going to fight Conor McGregor, 2017 was going pretty well, wasn't it? As soon as he mentions his name, next thing you know, it's like, right? I mean, it was going pretty well. He says he's coming back. All of a sudden, we got, oh, God, we got a delay. We got Pacquiao horn. We got this. We got that. It's like, come on. So it is what it is. Hey, Sal, listen, we're going to take a break. I'm going to kick you to the curb here for about 10, 15 minutes. I didn't mean to kick it out hard and knock your headset off. But we're going to have Dax coming on in a minute. So go use your turlet, refill your coffee, because I know you got oh, there you go. I knew his eyesight's starting to go a little. But do all of that, and then we'll be back to you in about 15. All right, my man?
You got it, buddy. You guys take care. I'll listen in, and we'll talk to you in about 15.
All right, that's my man, Sal Rocky Senecola. I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, Dax Khan will join us, give us his thoughts on Pacquiao horn. So we'll be back in about 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And don't forget, if you're watching us on the Facebook live stream, and if you're interested in seeing the full-blown video version, the same version that's on the television networks and all of that, go to our YouTube channel or just go to our website, BillyCBoxing.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/talkin, TALKIN, boxing, BOXING. You'll see a much better version of the show. The video is better quality, plus you see multiple screenshots. Unfortunately, Facebook Live only lets us do one, and it's not the same. So anyway, FYI. And by the way, you want to communicate with us, go into the chat room on BillyCBoxing.com. Although I do communicate through Facebook. That's just, because some of my buddies are coming on. I want to give a special shout out to my man Sherman Henson and my girl Emily Harney. I can't wait for her to come back. You got to call me, Emily. Anyway, joining us right now is my man, Dax Khan. What's up, Dax?
Hey, what's going on? I'm still rolling over this weekend's Heather Hardy fight. My gosh, was that a good fight?
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about Heather Hardy and
listen. I'm going to stop you now. I don't care what your opinion
is. I can mute you now.
Watch this fight. Watch this fight.
Yeah, Heather Hardy.
This girl was cut. She was so accurate. She just totally dominated Alice Yeager in that cage. She shut this girl down, and she was a warrior. And let me tell you, there's no way can anybody doubt this woman again. I'm telling you, Heather Hardy's a superstar, and this weekend she performed you can laugh all you want, and you know what? Laugh all you want, and you know something. Laughing like that without seeing this fight, Bill, you know something, you're making yourself look bad.
Hey, I tell you what, you're making yourself look bad, and I'll tell you this, a superstar, are you kidding me? I don't care how good she looked in the MMA. She's nowhere near a superstar. I focus on boxing. I don't focus on MMA. So whether she looked great in a cage or not, that's irrelevant to me. So let's move on to what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about her. But unless she's boxing, but Jeff Horn is fighting Manny Pacquiao. Unfortunately it's the topic this week. Does he have a chance?
Yes, he has a chance. Absolutely.
How?
How does he have a chance?
Tell me
well,
how.
First of all, he's very underrated. Everybody's writing this guy off. The guy, even though he only has 17 fights, he has a well-rounded opponent set. He's faced guys like Randall Bailey and Ali Funeka, even though they're at the tail end of their career. He has faced them. He's faced a lot of top-level European fighters. He's faced fighters of tall fighters. He's faced shorter fighters. Early on, he's dangerous. He's gotten off the canvas to come back. I believe the win ratio of his opponents together is over 90%. So, yeah, this guy has a chance. Definitely he has a chance. And, if Manny Pacquiao doesn't think, or anybody else doesn't think this guy's got a chance, they might be in for, a complete shock. The guy, I think, 174-20-5 with 2 former world champions, 3 regional champions. Dig behind those numbers, and you're going to see Jeff Moore is more than just Jeff Horn who. Jeff Horn is a lively underdog.
I mentioned earlier that his only 2 big wins were against the 2 guys that you mentioned, Randall Bailey and Ali Funeka, stopping both of them. But that's it. He does have almost a 4-inch height advantage. But, I mean, and he's younger. He's 9 years younger. And with the reports coming out that Manny's not really preparing right, and plus he's got, all these other things going on, which is always the case with Manny. And the bottom line is he's 38. And in my opinion, it's hard to get up for a fight like this, but Jeff Horn is fighting in front of his hometown, so to speak, at least his home country. But as much as I try, Dax, I can't give him much of a chance. I really can't unless Manny is just so done. And he certainly didn't look done a year ago against Vargas, and he certainly didn't look done to the fight prior to that against Timothy Bradley. So even if Manny Pacquiao is 70% of the Manny Pacquiao we knew, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I think it's a tough battle for Jeff Horn.
Of course it's going to be a tough battle for Jeff Horn. Nobody's saying that. And I would, in my mind, Manny's going to win, but it's not unreasonable to think that Jeff Horn can pull this out. See, the mentality of people, whether it's fans, whether it's promoters, and a lot of media is unless you see it, unless they're the U.S. fighters, and unless this guy has a 0 or only 2 or 3 losses on his record, he's no good. A lot of these European fighters, and why the European fans love their fighters is these are guys with 30, 40 losses. They've been stopped twice, but you know what? They have such rounded skill sets, and this guy has been in there with those type of fighters. He's been in there with former world champions, so he's kind of gained a little bit of experience from each one of these guys. You know, the only thing Manny Pacquiao is really going to bring to him, in my opinion, is the speed that he's never experienced. Manny Pacquiao hasn't had a knockout in a long time. Horn has been down early several times in his career, but it seems he gets right off that canvas, and when he does, he stops his opponent. So you know something, how is Manny Pacquiao going to deal with this guy if he knocks him down and this guy gets up and he comes at him stronger? You know, it's not going to be like Chris Algieri standing over there waiting for somebody to tell him to let him out of the cage.
Well, that's right. You know, Randall Bailey is obviously a big puncher and couldn't find his home run against Horn when they fought back in April of last year. But you hit it on the head. Manny Pacquiao, even now at 38 years old, his hand speed and his accumulation of punches is generally what puts people out, and the fact that they didn't see it coming and they weren't prepared for it. I think the same is going to happen to Jeff Horn, but I think Jeff Horn is in a win-win situation. This puts him on the map. Similar, you mentioned Chris Algieri. Well, the same thing happened to Chris Algieri. Although Chris Algieri was a known fighter in the New York area, he really wasn't put on the map. Well, I guess you could say he was on the map prior to Manny Pacquiao, but he really earned a couple of other fights after Manny Pacquiao, and I think the same thing is going to happen to Jeff Horn. I think Jeff Horn is a win-win situation. I think Manny Pacquiao is taking a big risk for this fight because I don't know what kind of dollars he's making, but should he not look good or should he even get upset and lose the fight, I think people will just shake their heads, and I think some of the other opportunities will go down the drain for Manny Pacquiao, if there are any more opportunities.
Like I said, you know, it's not. I'm not stating Jeff Horn is going to win. Definitely, I'm not even saying, you know, I would bet money that Jeff Horn is going to get the upset. But I will say I would not be shocked. You know, Manny Pacquiao, I've seen articles that have stated much what you did. You know, he has nothing to, but some say he has nothing to prove and nothing to lose. But he does have something to prove, and he has a lot to lose. He has more to lose here than a lot of criticism that Mayweather was given for his fight against Andre Berto, because Berto was a former two-time world champion. Now, Jeff Horn is an unknown. We have seen so many past greats go in there at the tail end of their career and face one of these unknown guys. Muhammad Ali against Leon Spinks, for example. Even though Spinks was an Olympic gold medal winner, nobody knew who he really was outside of that. So, you know, Manny Pacquiao, if he should lose this fight and he has no more opportunities, like you stated, guess what? Fans are going to always remember that in history. You know, boxing, as I always say, has a short memory span, whether or not a fighter is still active or they're retired. And the last thing that these people are going to look back on later on is that Manny Pacquiao lost to a 17-1 unknown guy named Jeff Horn. It's not going to be Manny Pacquiao was at the tail end of his career, and he took a chance against an unknown guy in his home country, and then he just fell short because he was slipping in age.
Well, I mean, when I say that Manny Pacquiao is in a lose-lose situation, I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that Manny Pacquiao is looking ahead to maybe another big mega fight, possibly against Terrence Crawford or maybe Errol Spence or Keith Thurman, or even a rematch with Mayweather, which we doubt will happen. And a loss here against Jeff Horn would derail all of that and probably end Manny's career. That's what I'm saying in terms of him being in a lose-lose situation, because I agree with you 100% that if he beats Jeff Horn, people are going to say, so what? You know, who's Jeff Horn? You know, so that was my point. I think that Manny could have went on and you know, got a bigger name to continue fighting, but he's picking a guy. Now, was Jeff Horn a mandatory by the WBA, or was that a picked opponent?
The WBO, Jeff Horn holds one of their minor titles. I forget which one it is exactly, but he does hold one of their minor titles, maybe similar to the one that Joseph Parker used to have before him and Andy Ruiz Jr. fought for the WBO heavyweight title. Matter of fact, I believe Jeff Horn was on the undercard of that fight, and that's where he won that belt, so that's how he got into this position. Over to what you're saying about Manny, even if he does win this, let's say, and then he goes, and then he has another fight against a big name, like a Terrence Crawford or somebody of that caliber, and he loses, what's going to happen there is they're going to say later on, you know what, he should have stayed right there. He could have went out on a win, and he could have just left. He could have walked away from the sport on a win by facing a guy like Jeff Horn. We say that about fighters all the time. You know what? Just leave on a win. We've said it about Roy Jones Jr., who continuously goes out after these unknown guys because he wants to build it up. Oscar De La Hoya, who was probably the last fighter in boxing who is the A side and can draw money against anybody, always insisted on fighting the absolute best. And you know something, Oscar De La Hoya stayed around a little bit too long. Manny Pacquiao was a fight where Oscar was hoping that he was going to fight a smaller man and he was going to finally get that win against a pound-for-pound fighter, and it backfired on him. So afterwards, what did he do? He went and he fought Stevie Forbes, who was a very good fighter, but Stevie was a lot smaller than him, and Oscar couldn't even knock him out, but he got that win. Oscar should have quit long before that, and it would have looked better even if he would have quit after the Mayweather fight, and at least he went out against the top name. And same thing's going to happen with Manny Pacquiao if he should look bad in this and lose his next fight. This is a lose-lose situation for Manny Pacquiao. Even if he dominates, who did you beat? And if he wins and goes on and loses, you stayed around too long. And if he loses, you stayed around too long. No matter what, Manny Pacquiao is in a lose-lose situation here unless he follows it up with something sensational.
Well, a sensational win will get. I don't know. I agree. I think he's in a lose-lose situation. A couple other questions I wanted to ask you. They made it official. Nevada State Athletic Commission has reversed the outcome. We thought it was going to happen. They changed the Guillermo Rigondeaux fight to a no contest. And by the way, it was the WBO Intercontinental that Jeff Horn won. So that's he must be at least an approved opponent by the WBO. So he's got that to fall back on. But anyway, back to the that question. Do you think that they're going to have a rematch, or have you heard anything along the lines of the Rigondeaux fight?
As of right now, no. Rigondeaux's disappointed, and rightfully so. I disagreed with Larry Hazard last week on his outtake on it. I watched that fight, even though it was only a round. I watched it about 20 times, and the same thing every time. What I see Guillermo Rigondeaux leaning back to avoid a right hand, and his arm is already cocked, and then as he's coming up, he throws that punch. It's almost impossible, unless it's a movie scene and you use special effects, to be in that type of position and to be able to come back up with that bell ringing and not be in motion to let your hands go. It's just almost impossible. I don't think it was deliberate, and I think it was unfair. So I really think Rigondeaux should have, got that win. If anything, you want to blame the referee for not being in position.
No, I agree with that. I think that Vic Draculich deserves a lot of the blame for not being in position. But I think the wrong decision would have been a DQ. Because I agree with you that I don't think that it was a deliberate after the bell punch. But I guess a no contest because of, the opponent falling down. And let me ask you, last week we had several emails suggesting that he was faking it. I didn't think so. I didn't think it was a fake. I thought it was a clear knockout. I mean, do you think it was? You said you watched it 100 times. Do you think that it was a bit of acting, like a Durrell?
No, not at all. Flores is a real fighter. He came in there, he wanted to win. This was the biggest opportunity of his career. This was really going to springboard him. Guillermo Rigondeaux, as we've stated here often, and a lot of people believe, this is a guy who gets the short end of the stick in the sport. He's gotten, screwed over. There's no other way to put that. He is that good. He makes guys look foolish. After his win over Nonito Donaire, that should have catapulted him into superstardom. Rigondeaux, this is a guy who is offering to give up his title. Anybody fight for this title, just let me be the mandatory so I can get a big fight. He's begging for fights. He's offered to fight for free several times. So this is a guy here who is that good, and every opponent that stepped in with him has realized, and he punches a lot harder than people realize. He's a very, if this was the 80s, he was a Pernell Whitaker, he'd be a super sensation in this era, but Pernell Whitaker sort of had that hard time of getting over that hump and that mainstream and overcoming the other guys that were on in that era, whether or not it be a Felix Trinidad or Oscar De La Hoya, because Whitaker was such a defensive fighter, and that's the problem with Rigondeaux. The difference is Rigondeaux was also a knockout puncher. In his last several fights, I think he sort of incorporated that a little bit more purposely, just to try and get the fans to put him in a little bit more of demand. So the sport has been very unfair to Guillermo Rigondeaux. It's almost as though he's being punished for being too good.
Does that knockout punch, and despite it being changed to a no contest based on what you just said, and I agree, it was a devastating knockout punch, and I love seeing a fighter that's so, defensive-minded be aggressive and go in for the kill. Does it being changed to a no contest help or hurt Rigondeaux?
It hurts. It hurts because, just as I was stating about Pacquiao or other guys, what you see on the end, and when a lot of people, especially in this era of social media and the internet, what they're going to see is that no contest. Nobody's going to sit there and look, whether it be now or 20 years from now, exactly what circumstances surrounded that. They're just going to see the no contest, and they're going to assume that some sort of shady shenanigans or something like that went on. Then they're going to see the lack of fights that Guillermo Rigondeaux had, and so, it's going to always look bad. A no contest looks bad on anybody's record when it's just there on paper, unless you actually know the situation behind it. And it's frustrating for Rigondeaux, because the no contest right there, that gives another excuse for a lot of these big names to turn down a fight with him, a big money fight. I think he's 36, 37. He doesn't have a lot of time left, something. So all they're going to say is, well, you just had a no contest. Why don't you erase that? Or they can sit there and say, you know what, we're not taking this with you. Why don't you prove you can stop a top name without hitting him after the punch? There's always some sort of angle to be worked out on there. So Rigondeaux was just never going to win. Even when he wins, he loses.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they have a rematch and what the interest level is there. But one last question for you, Dax, and I know this is going to be right up your alley because you're our social media guy. It was reported on social media over the weekend, and I don't know how true it is, and that's why I'm looking for you. But is it true that Canelo Alvarez will be coming out second, that they're making Triple G walk out first? I mean, that blows my mind, considering all of Triple G's belts are on the line. Is that true?
It's exactly, the promoter pull. And that's the problem. It's the pull of the promoter. We've seen that with Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward. Irregardless of the fact that in their first fight, Kovalev was the champion, Andre Ward was the one pulling the strings in his promoter. So, that's more or less what happens with Golovkin. Only the diehard boxing fans really like Golovkin, or really follow him. The rest of the fans, even after the Daniel Jacobs win, he still doesn't get credit for anything in his career, and he's beaten a lot of good opponents. And, Canelo being the draw and Canelo being the guy who sells, because in the few pay-per-views that Golovkin has been on, they haven't sold very much. So you know what? In terms of a business sense, boxing is a business first and foremost. It's only logical for Canelo to come out first, no matter how wrong it is. I mean, for Canelo to come out last, no matter how wrong it is.
I just, to me, that's screaming devalues the belts. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's devaluing it. I mean, we can understand that that he is a fighter that is the bigger draw, but maybe they worked out a deal, and I don't know this. I don't follow the social media as closely as you do, and I know Oscar said that Canelo will be coming out second, but I'm sure they have to announce him first. I mean, they can't possibly let Canelo come out, second, and then announce him second. I mean, it makes no sense. Now, years ago, they used to bring the champion out first. The champion was always out first. So, the champion always came out first, and the challenger came out second. So, it's going to be curious to see if Canelo gets the shot at coming out second and announced second. What's your thoughts?
I can't remember. I'm sitting here trying to think, and Henry Haskup would be the guy to ask. Henry could tell you what shoe size a fighter had in 1822 if you ask him without having to look it up. But back in the 90s or the 80s, there used to be a champion who used to like to actually be the one who was announced first. I do believe that in most situations it's the champion's choice, and it's not there's no official rule that says whether a champion has to come out first or second. So, in my opinion, this is all a business. This all has has to do with business. In terms of the titles being devalued, those titles have been devalued for a long time, and that has nothing to do with Golovkin. It's just the titles today are just devalued.
No, you're right there, my man. Well, listen,
One last thing, we speak about the tail ends of careers and people seeking attention. Paulie Malignaggi has become so sickening. With social media. This is a guy who does nothing but goes on social media and insults everybody and has bad things to say about everyone. And recently he has truly just bashed and called the common man losers. Anybody not making six figures or above in Paulie Malignaggi's eye is a loser. He was degrading, fast food workers and college students because they wanted the level of minimum wage to be raised. And he's talking about, well, they shouldn't because they have no skills. It's not anybody else's fault but their own. They're a loser. I'm tired of supporting them. Paulie, he doesn't know a guy named Michael Gates Gill, a Yale graduate who was wearing $3,000 to $5,000 suits, worked for Christian Dior, Ford. He was a top advertising exec. He was making well over $1.5 million a year. The company he worked for folded. He lost his job. He couldn't get any type of work. He ended up going to Starbucks, making $9 an hour and laughing about it, saying that half the time he screws up the coffee orders. You know what? Because the man had to go and do what he had to do, and he came out and said, you know what? We're just making ends meet. I spent my money foolishly, but you got to do what you got to do. It'd be nice for a little bit of a minimum wage to go up. So Paulie Malignaggi's, calling these people losers when these people are just out there doing what they're supposed to do. You know what, Paulie? They're out there, they're working, and you should respect that because these working guys are the ones that buy these tickets to see you get a haircut in between rounds, to see you cry because Adrian Broner stole your girlfriend, to see you cry because Sean Porter just abused you in the first round, and, the ones that still say today, you know what, the highlight of your career was taking a beating from Prime Miguel Cotto. Paulie Malignaggi has become pathetic, and he's one of these guys that uses social media for attention. Paulie, why don't you just, instead of your future legend, why don't you just wear a big sign that says, look at me, please?
There's so many discussions about the minimum wage, and not that, I believe people should make as much money as they possibly can. The only legitimate argument against raising the minimum wage, which has nothing to do with Paulie and what you're saying, because I agree. He's the Fran Drescher of, in case anybody doesn't know, the nanny of boxing. But the truth of the matter is, Dax, is some small businesses that may be forced to pay $15 an hour for help won't be able to survive and without raising their price. And just the way business is conducted now, we're losing a lot of that. Somebody made a point recently about the interaction that we have, and they used back in the 80s and early 90s when you went to a video store, a Blockbuster Video, and rented a movie, and you'd be able to talk to the salesperson, and they would say, oh, you watched this horror flick, oh, did you try this one? Did you try that one? And give you some insight. Now, nobody goes to a video store. They either get it in a red box, they don't interact, or they order it without interaction. And that whole interaction, even phones, we don't even use our phones anymore. We text, and that whole interaction is being removed. And something like doubling and I'm just using, I don't know if it's actually doubling, but doubling a hourly wage for a small mom and pop type shop might force them to close further in that division in society. And I think we need that interaction. What do you? I know it's not boxing, but what do you think on that, real quick?
I believe so. I complain all the time. I'm not an overly political guy, and this had nothing to do with politics or actually the minimum wage why I mention this. I'm the type of guy that, I go someplace, you don't have to be overly nice to me. It doesn't have to be, oh, mister, or can I help you? Just, how you doing? Yes, thank you. And, just courteous. That's all. I do get aggravated when somebody's just actually rude, or you go up to a counter and somebody's talking on their cell phone while you're sitting there, trying to pay for something. That's just has nothing to do with even being a customer. It's just blatant disrespect to another person. And, we lack that. But that's, it's the era today. And you're right. More people are texting. I talk to the kids all the time saying, go call on your friend. What's that mean? Call on them means you actually knock on the door and see if they want to come outside. So it's just the era. But my point with Paulie is, something, you're out there and you're bashing all these people that are, these are the fans of the sport, and you're bashing people openly, and you have a lot of followers because people are talking about a raise for minimum wage, and you're calling people losers. These are the same losers that sit there and they buy these tickets. Remember, even in the times of the Depression, when nobody had money, you know what? Everybody always found a way to go see the fights, and this is how the sport evolves. And, when you're sitting there and you're destroying fans who work hard for that money, they're going to spend it another way. They're not going to spend it on boxing, especially somebody who wants to cry because your opponent stole your girlfriend.
Dax, I appreciate your insight, and I agree with you about Paulie Malignaggi. So we'll look forward to you.
It seemed most people did that day as well. So.
Oh, I could imagine.
You remember me and you at the Taylor Froch fight? He was the only guy that got booed on that card.
I know he did get booed. He was terrible that night, and that was like a comeback fight for him. But anyway, Dax, we'll talk to you later in the week, my man.
All right, everybody, enjoy your day. The weather's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Have a good one. That's Dax Khan. Check out his column up on BillyCBoxing.com. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break, but when I get back, we're going to have Sal back on. And I got a couple of more emails to read, which I want to get those done. And we got some other news to talk about. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us today. And back with me right now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, we got some more emails. You ready?
I am ready, my friend. Yes, let's go ahead.
This one's from my man Rick. I'm glad Rick is back interacting with us because he's been watching this show for over a decade now. And if you're new to the show, we're in our 14th year already. So I want to thank Rick for sticking around. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, I think most people already know about Cassius Clay against Antonio Inoki fight, which he was a wrestler, but it doesn't count. It's not on his BoxRec, or his official record. He says, but did you guys know that according to BoxRec, Archie Moore's final fight was against a pro wrestler making his boxing debut? The fight took place under boxing rules. The opponent was Mike DiBiase, who was related to the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, a famous WWF star from the 80s. Yeah. Classy, wasn't it Classy? Wasn't that the guy? Classy Teddy DiBiase? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But he says Archie Moore KO'd Mike DiBiase in 3 rounds, and that was DiBiase's first and only boxing match, and it was Moore's last fight also. So, I just think, Sal, that boxing today, and I'm not saying that they didn't have some funky fights that were approved back in the day, because they certainly did. But the difference was that fighters fought much more. In other words, fighters today spar more than they used to years ago. Years ago, a fighter used to fight 3 times a month or even more, definitely twice a month. And, you might only have seen throughout one calendar year, you might have only seen that fighter fight 3 or 4 top-notch fights, and then the rest of them were not so top-notch. But boxing was a way of making a living. It was a craft, and they had to make a living, so they fought, and that's all they did. So fights like that back then, I think, were more accepted. I'm not agreeing with them, but they were more accepted. But today's boxing, it's not like that. Number one, safety is a main concern, which it wasn't as much of a concern back in the day. And number two, 90% of the fighters, unless you're a upper echelon fighter who's making 6-figure paydays every time you go out, most of these fighters today, Sal, are working other jobs.
That's hard to believe. That's really interesting that you say that. I know if you're not in a big money and things like that, you're definitely, that goes across the board. You're working additional jobs or you have a career, and boxing isn't everything that is supporting you or your family. But when you're at an upper echelon level, it's you should be fighting more and getting those paydays, because you got your limited time to do what you got to do.
Yeah, but the argument there is, if a fighter. And this is where I agree with Floyd. My disagreements with Floyd are who he picks. But my agreement with Floyd is, why should Floyd Mayweather fight 3 times a year when he could fight once and make way more money than he could in 3 fights? I agree with that mentality, as long as the fights are substantial. But back in the day, boxing was a trade. You could be a carpenter, you could be a plumber, you could be a mason, you could be a boxer. And when I say trade, like a trade job, like a plumber, mason, carpenter, etc. That's what boxing was. Boxing was boxing. People started off as an amateur. They became a prospect, turned pro, became a prospect. We know the whole routine, a contender, a champion, if they made it that far. But then they stayed in the sport of boxing as a coach, as a gym owner, as a trainer, as a promoter. And we had what we call boxing people running the sport of boxing, which is what we don't have today. If you have a checkbook and it's got some money in there, you're in. That's all you need to do, So anyway, I don't know, but
no, it's true. It's true, and the fighters back then, they were hungry. Fighters today are hungry too, but the fighters back then, that's how they supported their families. They weren't really working other jobs. Some of them were working part-time jobs, sure, but they were working and they were fighting more regularly. As soon as their bodies healed up or they could get a fight, they were fighting every couple of weeks. They were fighting once a month. They were fighting this and that, getting those paydays.
Half of these guys fought hurt. Charlie Burley, one of my favorite fighters of all time, the only guy that Sugar Ray Robinson refused to fight. Charlie Burley, if you never heard of him, punch him up. All-time great, never won a title, and that's only because of the color of his skin. They didn't give him the opportunities because he was black. But this was one of the greatest fighters of all time. He would fight with broken hands. He would put a broken hand into the glove, Sal, because his hands were fragile, little weak, little girly hands like Floyd Mayweather has. And, but the difference is this guy used to put a broken hand into the glove, and still fight. I mean, what kind of pain threshold does a man or anybody have, for that matter, that just puts a broken hand into a glove and continues to fight? Now, today they wouldn't have let it happen because, they'd have medical people examining him, et cetera, et cetera.
No, that's true. And, I know I have had definitely fights when my knuckles were sore or hurt, but, they were not broken. And you can come over to the mind over matter, and it's going to be painful, and you don't think about it because it's the way you're built. But, that's I don't know what that is, but boy, fighting with a broken hand.
He did it many times.
That's a little much.
He did it multiple times, Sal, because Charlie Burley used to break his hands hitting the heavy bag. He had very fragile hands, but he couldn't not bring home a paycheck to support his family, so he would never back out of fights. And a lot of times, most of the time, he won the fights that he had a broken hand before the fight even started. But we got one more email. This is from my main man, Mitch, and it's kind of funny, all right? And what it is it's an email. He sent me an email talking about Virgil Hunter, and I believe Virgil Hunter is a fraud. I think that he's an overrated trainer, and he's getting a lot of press and notoriety today because of his success with Andre Ward, and rightfully so. I mean, there's no question that he deserves credit with Andre Ward, but Andre Ward is an exceptional fighter that I think would do just as well without Virgil Hunter. I've yet to see Virgil Hunter help another fighter. He's done some crazy things. Amir Khan was laid out. His last fighter that he undertook was laid out. This is a guy. I mean, great trainers can make fighters better. Virgil Hunter, I'm not so sure. He's more of a mental coach. He tries to help them mentally. And this email from Mitch kind of says it all. He says, the psychological BS that Virgil Hunter spews captivates young minds. They all fall for it. He says, Andre Ward, and this is what he says, Andre Berto walks back to the corner after getting beat up in a round. He looks to Virgil for guidance. Virgil says, well, Andre, it reminds me of a story my great-grandmama used to tell me back in the Deep South. She said, a truth has feet and a lie has wings. That's why a lie can fly all over town and get there first. But the truth moves slowly, Andre, and when it gets there, it stands on its own. So if I can't help, I won't hinder, Andre. Remember that, son. If I can't help, I won't hinder. Andre looks into space 3 seconds before the bell rings and tries to process that total line of BS that this clown just told him. Andre proceeds to get his ass kicked in that round, and the referee gives him a mercy stoppage. Maybe Virgil Hunter should have told Andre not to punch for the entire round, because that's what great trainers tell their guys to do, right?
Wow.
I loved that email because the truth of the matter is my biggest hang up with trainers today is that they don't give instruction in between rounds, or they give too much. You can't tell a fighter. The fighter comes back to the round is over, his adrenaline's going, and a fighter sits down, and you have one of two bad cornermen, Sal. The one guy says, okay, son, what you got to do is you got to go for the right hand. You got to unleash the right hand, and don't get caught with his left. And what the uppercut's there, too. And don't forget to work the body. And another thing, Keep moving to your right. You always got to move to your right. And don't forget, you got to have that overhand right, too, because that's wide open. He's hungry for that. He's waiting for that. Make sure you hit him with the overhand right. And make sure you sidestep to your left. And cover yourself at all times. And don't let him hit you in the right. Ding. And the fighter goes back, and the fighter's like, what did he just say?
Oh, boy, I just got hit. Here it comes again. Boom, boom. I'm exactly too much.
Now, the other version of a bad corner is a guy that does this. The guy comes back to the ring, and the guy says, man, what are you doing? Man, you're big. You're better than him. You're stronger than him. Now you go out there and you beat his butt. You know what we worked on. We worked on all of that in the corner. You go out there. You're better. You're the man. You can make him go out there. Go. You're stronger. You're tougher. Ding. And he gets a rah-rah, right? No instruction. No instruction. The right way to handle a fighter in between rounds is, as a good trainer, you're watching the fight. You see a couple of things that have to be changed. So you make what we call an adjustment, an in-fight adjustment, Sal. And a fighter comes back to the corner, and the corner man is calm, and he says, hey, listen, you got to watch the left. The left is coming in. And the right hand you got, and I'm just using this as an example, use the right. Set it up with the jab, okay? Watch his left. It's coming at you all the time. Set up your right hand with your jab. That's what you got to work on. Don't forget. Watch his left. It's coming in. And don't forget to use your jab. You'll set up your right hand with his jab. Ding. That's how you talk to a guy and I'm not a trainer, Sal, but the truth of the matter is you focus on one or two things, and that's
all you
it.
can do.
Right? What do you think?
That's all you could do, you know. And I love this show, and I love what you do, because every time, I thank God every day that I still have in the mind that can have the memory and recall so many situations. And like you will say something, and I'll flash back, and I'll take in a certain instance, and right then and there, I can think of things that Don Turner told me, that Richie Giacchetti told me, that Ali Stoltz, that this one, that one, Johnny Torres, and I remember what you were just saying. Just made me think back. One fight, Richie Giacchetti said, Sal, don't think too much. Just go and react, and you'll have this guy wrapped up. And, that's it. You just let your body. You can't think too much of what you got to do. Here you got to do it. You're going to make a plan, work a plan, sure. But, that's all he had. Every fighter knows, with his relationship with his trainer, they should know what buttons could be pushed and what could be easily accessed, and how to motivate your fighter, how to call. It's a good relationship. And in all due respect, I'm sure Andre Ward has this kind of relationship with Hunter, but it doesn't mean that it can cross over to another fighter, and that's the whole thing. That's why I asked the question last week. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, the fighter or the trainer? I think it's a blend of both. You got the talent of the fighter, and the trainer can hone in and increase the opportunities of what his talent could be by negating the bad and enhancing the good. And all in all, it's a good relationship. But, you can't spew too much stuff, and you can't just be a rah-rah guy. You got to be concise. You got a minute in between rounds, and you got to identify what the weaknesses are going on for your fighter during the round. That's all.
Nope. Hey, on this day in boxing history, June 26th, in 1959, Ingemar Johansson knocks out Floyd Patterson in the third round to win the world heavyweight title. It took place in the Bronx, New York. On this day in 1976, Carlos Monzon wins a 15-round decision over Rodrigo Valdez to unify the world middleweight title, and took place in Monte Carlo. On this day in 1982, Leroy Haley wins a 15-round decision over Saul Mamby to win the WBC World Junior Welterweight title. It took place in Ohio. On this day in 1993, Dingen Thobia wins a 12-round decision over Tony the Tiger Lopez to win the WBA World Lightweight title. That took place in Sun City. On this day in 1999, Paulie Ayala wins a 12-round decision over Johnny Tapia to win the WBA World Bantamweight title. That took place in Vegas. And finally, on this day, June 26th in 1972, Roberto Duran stops Kenny Buchanan in the 13th round to win the WBA World Lightweight title, and that took place in New York City. This is the fight that, if you've never seen it, this fight just amplifies what the real Roberto Duran was like. His nickname was Rocky Duran at that time, not Hands of Stone. And this fight was a great fight. If you've never watched it, go punch it up. 1972, Roberto Duran against Kenny Buchanan from Madison Square Garden. What a great fight. Hey, man, Sal, we got a busy week this week, but it's over for today. So I tell everybody, hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.